to look at the simple price delivery and the fair value gap, right? Most people are very much still confused as to how do we identify the fair value gap, okay? This is actually one of the most ICT simple strategy I think there is. If fair value gap is confusing to you, I think you should look at fair value gap as a demand zone where price will hit the wall and reverse, right? Or you can look at fair value gap as where price would hit the resistance and reverse, right? Okay, I think that's the most simplest way to describe the fair value gap. Okay, so let us start. Right now we are at GBP USD on a daily time frame. This is live price, right? On a Wednesday. So you'll take your trend line tool, okay? First of all, you will look at the three most consecutive candles, or three candles that look the same, not as to looking at the shape, but we could say the colors of the candle, right? Candles that have pushed price aggressively, that would be your fair value gap. For instance, if you were trading support and resistance, you would look at this area as we are being supported on that area, right? And you would take your box and click, sorry, you take your box and look at that area down there as a resistance area, right? No problem. That is perfectly fine. Not a worry. Now, what we're looking at when we are at a resistance right here. So the price have resisted here. It came there and it pushed down. Okay, that's fine. All right. So when price pushed down, right, on this aggressive push down to your support level, there were orders that came through there, and the banks left plenty of orders sitting right on this area. So price was pushing all the way down here very aggressively, okay? Meaning that when the banks came to that area, right, they pushed price all the way down. Now, we do understand that these hedge funds, these big banks are the ones that are controlling price. So if, let's say, JP Morgan 100 million, and they beat price to go down, they will push the price down. And we do understand that every country owns their commodity, right? Meaning that whether you think price will buy or sell, if America wants the dollar to push up for the day, it will push up for the day, because these are the people that have more influence on price, even though it's algorithmic, right? So this is a nice push on the downside, as we can see on this area. Okay, so if you were a seller here, that would be great. Now, if you were buying on the support area and you wonder as to why price came down, right? While you were nice in profit, price pushed all the way down. Okay, now this is where he came with the fair value gap, because where price have been pushed all the way, when price is pushing all the way down, it sort of left an imbalance right here. So we need to come back and balance price back. So all these areas that are here, we were supposed to have one red candle, one blue candle. But in my case, I have white and black candles. So we'll say one black candle and one white candle. There is supposed to be a balance in that area, right? We're not supposed to have an aggressive push to the downside. We're not supposed to have price to be so excited, right? When I love price, when price push all the way like that, I know that it is $1 day for me. That means I'm going to make money because I know they will come back there, close their orders and push back down. So you're going to take your horizontal ray or any tool you use. You count on the first candle, second candle, and third candle, right? Now, most people will put it here because there is a big wick on that candle. So there might be a push when we reach that area, right? But the right way could be, I think would be you putting it on the second candle's body, right? So it's 1, 2, 3. And then you take the third candle's body and put it on right on the neck. So if the candle is way too big and you don't know where to place your horizontal ray, you can take your box to measure that big candle, right? Place your box, the half of the box, you can use that as your horizontal ray to measure the candle. Because what happens there is there was an order that pushed price all the way down aggressively like that, as you can see on this big arm right here. And then this candle is where there is a 50% push to the downside. So when they come there, they will close that 50% order and then push the way down. Now, the trick to this, it's not that it will just go there and aggressively push down. You need to understand now this. Now you have to listen to this one very carefully. 50% here in this area, right? Half of the box, great, right? And you need to look at the candle that pushed price to the fair value gap. What do I mean by that? You need to look at the candle that pushed price to the upside. There was an aggressive push down, right? Went to the support, came to the support. The last candle that pushed price up, right? So we had this candle, we have that candle, right? Now we have, in this case, we have this large candle that sent us to the fair value gap. Let me write this here. So this would be our FVG, which stands for fair value gap. And we have that nice push to the upside. This push to the upside, right? So this candle that pushed us to the upside, it will push us back up. I think most people get it wrong there. They think when price goes to the fair value gap, it will push down aggressively. That's why it's very important to use the fair value gap on the 4-hour time frame, right? Otherwise, you're just going to get this wrong, bro. You have to use everything that he used. Rather use it on the higher time frame than just go to your 5 minutes for an entry. I only look at two time frames, 4-hour and 5 minute. Whatever I saw on the 4-hour, I just implemented on the 5 minute. 5 minutes is only for entry. I'm not looking at anything else. I don't care if price is still buying. I know that I'm still selling. Okay, let's go back to the last candle that pushed price up. So we went to the value gap. Need to understand that every time we go to a selling candle, we are pushing back down every time we left the buying candle, we are still looking at buys. No difference. Yes, there's more selling pressure to this area because of the fair value gap or FVG, but price is still on a buying level. Do not hold too long. Don't be those people who hold fair value gap to the moon. Like, they would hold it for 4 days and you find that price took you out and you won't understand as to why, right? So you need to look at where was the last candle that pushed us to the fair value gap. This is the candle that pushed us to the fair value gap, right? If you're looking at this week right here, it is still from that candle, right? So you know that when we come back down, so this is the candle I'm talking about, the big candle in this instance, right? So we came there, we pushed down all the way down, including these weeks over here. Let me use an arrow. So this is you. Okay, this is where we are. This is where we are. We are using the candle that pushed us up to the fair value gap. The candle that pushed us up to the fair value gap will be the candle that we use to buy price, because it is not a seller's market, right? Fair value gaps, guys, are just a retracement. I don't know if I've said this on the channel, but for real, if you want to simplify ICT stuff, always look at his stuff as a retracement. Most of the things that he taught, I'm telling you, I've paid for his mentorship. I know exactly what I'm saying. They are just retracement. Fantastic concepts he came with. But if you want to simplify this thing, just look at everything that he came up with as a retracement, right? And it is more, you could say, it is more, I wouldn't say his stuff is simple, but it is more precise. He's more precise about where he trade and how he will place a trade and what to look at, right? So if we're looking at this area right here where we are, not moving too much on what I was talking about. So what we need to look at there, we are looking at half of that area, right? That's where we will get our retracement back to the upside. Now, I know this is cherry picking. You'll be like, okay, yeah, you've already seen what's going to happen. I know people always say that. But listen here, I trade this for some time now. This is how I traded. I've traded live. I've shown all my trades. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to prove to nobody. I know what I'm talking about. I'm doing this almost every day. So you can take it. You don't take it. That's up to you. But I'm telling you now that the half of the candle that pushed price to the fair value gap is the candle that's going to buy, right? Every buying candle is a buy. Every selling candle, it's a sell. I don't know if you have heard this one before, but you heard it here on the channel. You don't mistake this ever, right? Nice. Okay, I'm sure we understand each other. So we are here. If you did not get what I said, just rewind that, because that is very important. It's very, very important. Every buying candle, it's a buy. Every selling candle is a sell. Whether we're retracing there, we will still go back to where we came from. So if we were pushing to the fair value gap, we were pushing there to buy, right? To buy the cells of buy. So that would be that. And this candle that have pushed us to this area will take us back down to push us back to buys. That is why when you are trading the support, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, in the channel, we don't shade any strategy. So this would, if you were here trading your support and you had your going long right here, and maybe you were targeting your fair value gap and your stop loss was perhaps on that area right there. Before this happened, this candle was not here, so you might have been taken out, because we are still open here, guys, with the buys. We are still very much open with the buys. So if it hit the fair value gap, you need to get out. because we're coming back down and we're coming back to the candle that pushed us to the fair value gap, and we will push back up. Why does it push back up when we reach that candle? Because if we see what happened here, the same principle or concept used to enter here, the half of the candle for the fair value gap, we push there. There were orders that pushed this candle all the way up. Therefore, they need to come back down to do what? To close the orders. Therefore, it will close and push back up, right? Sometimes it goes twice to the fair value gap, come back down, and then it pushes back up again. We don't know, we don't care. What we know is we're looking at 3 candles and we buy or sell. And that's that. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again in the channel. Cheers.